this is honestly the worst thing that I think any parent could go through.
A heartbreaking loss is shining a light on a growing safety concern on e-bikes and the risks they pose to young riders.
A Polk County teen was hit by a car and killed while riding home, and now his mother is speaking out, hoping her son's story can save others. News Channel 8's Georgia MacArthur spoke with the 15-year-old's mom and an ER doctor about the rise in serious injuries involving electric bikes.
His mother tells us he was visiting family in New Smyrna Beach when he was hit by a car while riding on his e-bike earlier this month. His mother says she got a heartbreaking call that will forever change her life. Summer Barnes says her son had his whole life ahead of him until it was cut short in a tragic e-bike crash earlier this month.
I feel like he's been robbed of such a wonderful life. I was so proud of the young man that he was growing into.
15-year-old Maddox Moore had just gotten his electric bike as a gift. His mom says he had only ridden it a few times before he was struck by a car. He was rushed to the hospital and spent nearly 2 weeks in ICU.
The doctor told me that, if Maddox had been an adult and come in the condition that he was in, he wouldn't have done anything. But he wanted to give him a chance because he was a teenager and
That chance wasn't enough. Maddox died on Monday. His mother now calling on other families to talk about safety before it's too late.
Well, I think the biggest thing is to impress upon them how important safety is, how important it is to wear a helmet. It doesn't matter if it looks cool or it's going to mess your hair up or, whatever. It could be the difference between life and death.
Doctors at Johns Hopkins All Children's in St. Pete say they've seen a sharp rise in kids coming in with serious e-bike and scooter-related injuries.
A lot of these end up as trauma alerts because they do have really significant injuries. We've seen head injuries, neck injuries, broken bones. We've also seen internal injuries, internal bleeding. So these are really significant accidents, and we're seeing a lot of them, especially in kids.
His mom says her son was quiet, compassionate, and loved sports. His memory and his story, she hopes, will protect others.
The loss of Maddox just runs very deep for us. But I appreciate all of the support. I see it, I feel it.
State law previously prohibited children under the age of 18 from riding in e-bikes, but in 2023 legalized it for all ages. It is still against the law for children not to have a helmet under the age of 16. His family is also raising money to cover his funeral costs. Reporting, I'm Georgia MacArthur, 8 on your side.
A Pasco County man who's serving a 30-year sentence for killing his ex-wife is now facing sentencing in Pinellas County for the murders of her parents and her brother. Opening statements and the first testimony happened today. News Channel 8's Jenna Bass tells us what the jury heard.
Tense and descriptive moments today in a Pinellas County courtroom as opening statements began in the sentencing phase for Shelby Neely. Neely now facing the death penalty for the 2018 murders of his ex-wife's mom, dad, and brother. State prosecutors painting a graphic scene of the murders of members of the Avancic family.
And this defendant, all along, had been planning to murder everyone in that house. So while Richard is walking in the house, in the dining room area towards the kitchen, this defendant, armed with a hammer, attacks him.
In January of 2019, Neely was arrested in Ohio after police caught up with him in a stolen car out of Tarpon Springs. The bodies of Richard Avancic, Laura Avancic, and Nicholas Avancic, along with the family's 3 dogs, were discovered in their Tarpon Springs home on New Year's Eve. A week later, police discovered the body of Neely's ex-wife, Jamie Avancic, near a Port Richey home. Neely's defense team reserved their opening statement and proceeded to call 4 witnesses today. Now, Neely's trial will continue for this week. Reporting in St. Petersburg, Jenna Bass, 8 on your side.
Kane's Helene and Milton left a lasting impact on Hillsborough County.
People in our communities are scared, not just about the next storm, but about being forgotten again.
After weeks of public meetings and input, today Hillsborough County commissioners took a step toward recovery. Commissioners approved a plan on how to spend more than $700 million in federal funding to help with hurricane recovery.
It really is going to cover 3 significant things: housing, infrastructure and essentially resilience and preparedness money.
According to the plan, at least 70% of the funding will benefit low to moderate income populations. A majority will be spent on housing, repairs, and new construction. The rest will be spent on things like infrastructure, such as stormwater and road improvements, as well as help for small businesses. Some neighbors worry the plan is too vague.
There's no excuse for this plan to lack specific action steps.
Many expressing concerns that not enough money is being directed to make the county more resilient to storms.
Mitigation isn't some kind of buzzword. It's literally life-saving for our communities.
County commissioners say the plan is intentionally vague for now.
As counties have gone through the process and their various applications have been rejected or modified, we've had the opportunity to learn from what they did in crafting ours. Most of the concerns that were mentioned today, there is going to be a real effort made to address some of those problems.
So what's next? HUD will need to approve the plan before the county can get funding. The county commissioners will also need to hire outside consultants to implement the plan. Melissa Marino, 8 on your side.
A federal funding freeze has Pinellas County school leaders on edge.
The U.S. Department of Education says more than $6 billion in grant funding for schools all across the nation is now under review. Pinellas' share, $9 million. News Channel 8's Victoria Lucas is live in Pinellas County, and their fiscal year is already underway, right, Victoria?
Stacey, Josh, that's right. And school leaders say they've already laid out plans centered around that $9 million they're expecting, including the allocations of funding for programs they say are important for both students and teachers.
Though there's a point where you cut and it can hurt.
A freeze in billions of dollars in educational funding is putting a wrench in Pinellas County school plans.
While the federal government might be saying, hey, we're going to freeze these funds and we'll see if we release them in October, we start school in less than a month, and our fiscal year has already started.
The U.S. Department of Education sent an email to school districts nationwide on June 30th, letting them know more than $6 billion in funding for certain grants is now under review. School board members at Tuesday night's meeting voiced their concerns.
To pull the rug out from under the school districts, K-12 school districts across the country right before school starts is really very concerning to me.
The $9 million is expected to head towards Pinellas County schools. It's funding board chair Laura Hine says they need for many initiatives and programs, one being their middle school experience, which started back in 2022.
At that time, 8 of our middle schools were A or B schools, which represents about 36%. Now, this year, 20 of our middle schools are A or B schools, 91%. That is a significant return on the investment of those dollars.
Pinellas school leaders say the goal now is to prove compliance. Hines says the district has drafted a unanimous letter to state and federal leaders.
We need them to advocate for us. We're asking them to say, Florida has great schools and we're in compliance. Release our funds.
So I asked school chair Hine of the worst case scenario. What would happen if these funds aren't allocated to them? And she said, well, they would have to make adjustments and look for the money elsewhere. Josh?
Victoria, does the district have plans to address this to the community while they wait to see if they'll get the funds?
That's a good question, and I did ask Chair Hine about that, and she said first this coming Tuesday, the board is going to have a workshop with their chief financial officer to find ways they could sustain with the current funding that they have if the funding does not get allocated to them. And then this coming Thursday, right, that's next Thursday after, they are going to have a community forum on the 24th of this month to address community residents about this and take questions and also receive input.
Yeah, every dollar counts, no doubt. Victoria Lucas live in Pinellas County for us tonight. Thanks so much.
Well, right now, finishing touches are being added to the historic Beach Theater in St. Pete.
The 1940s landmark reopens tomorrow for the first time in more than a decade. 8 on your side's Beth Rousseau joins us with a sneak peek. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So as a girl who majored in theater, I am geeking out over this one. From the outside, the Beach Theater here in St. Pete Beach looks pretty much the same, but that's the idea. I can tell you though, the paint is new, so is the sign, and then once you walk inside those doors, it is unrecognizable. At the Beach Theater on Corey Avenue, the scene is set for an epic comeback.
It's been a while since the Beach has had a fully operational theater here.
Owner Hannah Hockman is scripting the theater's second act. It looked like curtains for the 1940s cinema during my first visit in 2021. It had been dark for more than a decade, with walls peeling and ceiling crumbling.
This wall that we're looking at will go away.
When I met the new leading lady last year, she was already making progress.
It's been a lot of work, but clearly we've come a long way and we're so close to opening.
Hockman tells me there's been plot twists throughout the process.
Our first day of renovation was actually the day Hurricane Debbie hit, and then we dealt with Helene and Milton like everyone else out here. We ended up getting the full 6 feet of storm surge.
Now they've raised the foundation, reconfigured the lobby, and added a second performance space to accommodate stage shows and movies.
We really took inspiration from the time that the theater was built in to kind of touch on the different architecture that we're doing in here, the different designs. So we also wanted to add that little St. Pete Beach touch to it too.
She hopes locals and visitors feel the overhaul is worthy of a standing ovation.
I think this will be.
So here at the Beach Theater, the doors are going to open July 18th, so tomorrow. And what they're going to be doing is showing a documentary that details the history of the Beach Theater as well as the entire renovation process. There are still tickets available, so if you want to get your hands on those, we've posted a link for you on the WFLA app. We're live in St. Pete Beach this morning. Beth Russo, 8 on your side.